You got up far too early this morning, and I got up at 6:15. Now, some people would consider that to be late rising.
Yes, exactly.
What time did you get up at approximately?
I got up at 7:45, which for me
Yeah.
is far too early.
Far too early. Far too early. Yeah, by 7:45, my daughter is already saying, I want to go to school. I want. This is a high emphasis on I want. This is ridiculous. I'm not sure what kind of a child I'm bringing up, because I've always wanted to bring up a non-compliant child, certainly not complying with their father in this respect.
Paul,
Yes.
you've just described a non-compliant child.
Yes.
By the very fact that she wants to go to school, she doesn't
Correct.
fit with other children.
Yeah. She does. Actually, I suspect a lot of kids in the school she's at rather like it, and that's the kind of thing about. Anyway, look, you got up. I got up early. You got up too late.
No, I got up too early for the.
No, you.
I went to bed very late.
Oh yeah.
Got up to quarter to 8 was too early to get up. But
I went to bed at a reasonable time, but then spent quite a bit of time listening to audio and speaking practically in my sleep. So look, how did this morning's episode go, Roger?
I felt we were flat, personally.
We were flat.
I felt we were a bit. If that was the only episode anybody ever heard of the podcast, I'm not sure they'd come back for a second helping.
And I was being deliberately measured, which means that I won't be like
You're
that
not
again.
hired to be deliberately measured.
Yeah. I was thinking that here we are in the public of work. Over there is Frank doing his job, and I didn't want to disturb Frank by being loud. Have you heard any of it, by the way?
Bits and pieces, yeah.
But I actually didn't want to distract you, genuinely. So I actually spoke in a much more restrained way. I don't think I'd have said anything differently, though.
No.
Do you know that? I might have said, Roger, I might have said, oh, no, come back here for a minute now, Roger. I want to actually bring you back to the point you made earlier and stop taking us away. Or else I might have gone, oh, God damn, I've done it again. I've gone off point. But you certainly were, in my mind, within your normal range. Whatever you felt, whatever you felt, and I thought you had some good stories in there. I mean, one of the most difficult things you had in that episode was to talk about your own company, which you probably would like to have had more preparation. No?
I don't really know.
I thought the idea of going from the visual communications company to show and tell communications was a fantastic journey, which of course, Business Jazz Services will be able to capture. Yes, you surprised me about one thing.
Go on.
Because you asked me, so where will Business Jazz Services get, a client? Or when will it get a client?
Did I say that?
Yeah, you said something which caused me to say, well, of course, we've gone from 0 to 1 already.
Yeah.
Right? And I went through my head saying, has Roger forgotten?
No,
you knew exactly. Were you being the straight guy and feeding me a line which would,
Not intentionally.
Oh, well.
Right, let me just copy this across so that I have.
Yeah, I loved your. I'm going to leave you to do this while I do think, but I loved your bit of advice about make your company name pronounceable. I thought that was just. I wouldn't have thought about using that word, pronounceable, and since it was perfect in the context of what we'd done. Okay, end of review. Paul is going to stop recording this because Roger is absolutely uninterested in doing anything except capturing the data, putting it in the right place, and getting on with his next thing, which might be to listen to a piece of audio we recorded before. Okay, this is the end of the review of the latest episode of Business Jazz Podcast. This is episode number 11 in Series 3. Bye for now.